What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my far right by Rachel Mogan.
What's up?
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Yo.
And today we're joined by our special guest, Spencer Tullos.
I'll say it in the accent.
Oh, sorry. Spencer Tullos.
Yeah.
That wasn't as good. Spencer Tullos. There we go.
There we
better.
go.
Better.
That sounded
Scottish
more
last
right.
name.
That's it, man.
Great.
Gaelic last names, we love them.
Man, I wish I had a Gaelic last name. I just got Wilson. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's lame.
It's good,
It is lame.
strong
Mogan's-
British last name.
Yeah,
you
I know. You know, it's got the history behind it, but just no fun, no fun behind
not
the
interesting.
sound.
They
no,
tell us Mogan is Scottish, but I don't think
I'd
that's
buy
true.
that.
But if you can go by your last name, you get a good last name.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
If,
Yeah.
you-
That's
if
true.
everyone
That's
calls
very
you
true.
Mogan,
If everyone calls me Wilson, then they're just like, oh, you're Tim the Toolman Taylor's neighbor. So, whatever. It's all good. But if this is your first time listening to Team Chat Podcast, this is a video game podcast where we talk about, obviously, video games and the ones we love through top 3 lists, discussion, debates, and reviews every once in a while, and also with guests. So also, if you would like to send us any questions or any other communication, please do so by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube page where you can watch these fun videos each and every week. Also, if you would like to support the show, please go to check that out at patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. And if you do, you will get some cool perks, like the episodes early before their Tuesday release. And we'll figure out something to do with the video, too. The video should be a perk in some way. We'll figure that out at some point. Never know. But if you don't, that is totally fine, because we still love making this podcast each and every week and delivering great content to you.
correct it for the Patreon.
No, I do that anyway. I already gave that perk away. I just
color correct it?
Basically.
Oh,
I just do a quick one. Quick one. Just be like, sweetening. A little sweetening on top. That's all it is. But if you would like to do that, please head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. And I'm done with the business.
Oh,
Right.
you proved me wrong.
I know, right?
You did
See?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
that was
got
nice.
me.
That was nice.
Good.
Thank you.
You need
Thank
the
you.
adversity, like in your face. You need it.
I do.
think.
I do. I need to
I'm
know
gonna show
which
them
mountain
wrong.
I'm going to climb.
Yeah.
And I climbed it. Planted my flag.
Logan's
at the
I'm
top.
throwing boulders
helping.
at you
That's
at the
exactly
top.
what I'm
She's Donkey Kong and I'm Mario trying to climb up the ladders, and she
Throwing
is
the
throwing the
barrels.
barrels down at me. All right, well, we do have, before we get into the main topic of everything, we do have one question emailed into us, teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, by our good friend Cody Peck. And Cody writes,
First of all, yay, Cody.
Yeah, no, we haven't heard from Cody.
all right, here we go.
Wow.
So Cody says, hey guys, Cody again. Hope you guys are doing well. We are. Thank you. I just finished your episode on indie games, and I thought I would jump in with one that I'm currently playing that is pretty great. It's called Fury, F-U-R-I, and I'm playing it on the PS4. It was actually the free game this month with PS Plus, which by the time you're listening to this is probably gone. So sorry, everybody. It's the July game, I think. I'm going to try to snag it
Did he
before it's
write
gone.
that? Because that
No,
sounds like
I-
something he would write.
No, I'm saying that to everybody, so they're not like, "Ooh, I'm going to go get it." No, sorry, it's already gone. Sorry. Not sure if it is for other consoles or not, but it is great. You play as this person trapped inside of a prison that is kind of like in space or another dimension or something, and one day you escape, and the whole game is you traverse to the next area by very slowly walking and fight a boss, rinse, and repeat. The bosses are awesome and very difficult, and it gives you a very loose idea of the story, but where I've gotten a lot of things are still shrouded in mystery. But where I've gotten to a lot of things are still shrouded in mystery about who you are, why you're in a prison, and the general story. I highly recommend it.
It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think I'll
See some
download it.
screenshots here.
Yeah.
That sounds right on my alley.
Whoa, this actually
that's
this
pretty
is like
cool.
a future prison.
I guess so.
I was thinking of like
No,
iron
it's a present
bars.
day prison. Haven't you been to prison lately?
Sorry for inquiring a little further. I would say, yeah, this. I'm getting one screenshot over and over. What's going on?
That's
here?
probably just like the cover art that's
all
in
I
the
got.
store or
It might be
whatever.
my phone.
Might be the Google search. Yeah,
Maybe
that's a
your
weird
hands.
iPhone.
It's so weird. Oh, no, you're right. It is. I don't know what's happening there.
That's got the components of good indie games. Ambiguous beginning.
Yep.
Yes.
All indie
That's
games.
what you like
have
about, like, Limbo.
I'm just saying all good indie.
Nice.
I'm not saying that's the component need to make a good indie game. I'm saying all good indie games have that component.
Yeah, not gonna disagree with you there.
I'm just saying.
Cody says, and on to my question. Since you guys are so eager to get some, we are. Thank you. Thank you for making us
Get
feel
some?
loved. Questions.
Oh,
Questions. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Both.
When it comes around.
yes to both. Yeah, when it comes around.
Have you considered doing a Team Chat Let's Play, TCLP, as it calls it?
TCLP.
Which just more and more sounds like a drug every single time.
Yeah.
Like TCP sounds like that should be an illegal drug.
Yeah, it should.
But, I'm going to take it.
TCLP.
Maybe that's how we should really be making our money.
Selling
We need to
TCP.
get into drugs.
Yeah, seriously, that is good money.
We are missing out on a lot
We're
of
going to
money
see
there.
live streaming.
But he says, have you considered doing a Team Chat Let's Play, Team Chat TCLP of your favorite video games, but with a twist, where you would all play each other's favorite games? Example, Zach could play Rachel's favorite, Rachel could play Jarrett's favorite, and Jarrett would play Zach's. All while having the three of you comment while playing together. I think it would be very fun to listen to your three antics while watching you guys
My
play.
That would be
commentary
fun.
is so
I
antagonistic.
think it would be really fun. Which
It
would
would
make
be
it
really
fun.
fun.
It would be fun, but I foresee us getting like angry. Like,
Well,
this
I would
game
be
sucks,
angry
and you're like,
at,
no, you just suck at it.
whoever's playing Wind Waker. I'd be like, just get in the boat.
Right,
Just
go
get,
this
just,
way.
Oh,
Just go
God.
this way.
Just backseat driving hardcore.
Yeah, and if you guys are playing Halo, you know I'm
Backseat
gonna
boating,
be like,
God.
you're doing it wrong.
But no, that'd be fun to do, but we'd have to like really produce it. So I'd like to figure out how to do it well.
Yeah, we'd
Was
have
it
to
that
we'd
you
have to get
guys
a
did-
video
I'd love to start doing
capture
Let's Play.
card.
Isn't that what you guys do?
It is.
Yeah.
So we'd have to figure out. So we'll just
Look at what Jared has done
Get on
already.
it.
we'll just meet up
Give him some
and
credit.
we'll have this and we'll make something great for you, Cody. So we'll work on that. We'll work on that. See what we can do.
I like it.
And he says, and this has been another email by your dedicated listener, Cody. Joined to my right, a computer, and to my left, a wall. Until next time. I love the sign off,
He's
Cody.
pretty
Oh,
funny.
that's actually hilarious. That's so funny. I've never thought about making fun of that specific part. I know, but that's a good one to like poke fun at. To my left, because you do that is every time. To my right.
Intro and the exit every single time. All right.
If you ever switched it up and did Zach first, I think I would lose my mind.
See, I
Yeah.
thought I was going
Like,
to
I
throw you
would
off because
shut
I said to
down.
my far right.
No,
Right.
I was like, oh God.
Yeah. You like look over your shoulder.
And I was quite pleased with myself to be able to go on the fly like that.
Yeah.
But,
I
you
thought
know.
for sure you were going to go Spencer first.
No.
No,
He gets
no.
the esteemed honor of being named last as the guest.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't realize it was an honor.
Quiet guest host.
all right. So anyway, Spencer, tell us about yourself.
Well,
You're friends with Zach. I know that.
Yeah.
So and all that. But so
Yes.
like, you know, how'd you get into gaming? How do you and Zach meet each other? Because I knew it has to be it had some relation to gaming.
yeah, me and Zach have a very interesting, come to friendship. So to start off with my gaming history, my brother first showed me a video game where we installed Doom on my grandparents' PC.
I'm sure your grandparents
very-
were very confused.
They did not know. I think my brother hid it in a file under a file. And my grandparents did not know how to run a computer, even to today. They're very conservative, and I'm sure if they found that, there would have been a huge freak out.
Satan has taken over our
yeah,
computer.
seriously.
Yeah. So Doom was one of my first games. Then my parents got us a Sega Genesis,
Nice.
and that's
Nice.
when that's when the N64 was releasing. So my cousin was getting the N64, and I was getting the Sega Genesis. But that was a good start to video games for me. And then, of course, moved through Xbox, which changed my life, PlayStation, all that good stuff. Worked at GameStop, sorry y'all, for a good while.
I still hold that I mean, granted, yes, some
You
people
hold a
hate it.
grudge?
No, I think that would be fun.
Oh yeah, it would be fun.
Because you just get like every time I've gone into GameStop, there's always been like the guy working there is talking games with the people who are shopping, and I'm just like, hey,
Well, there was a point in
sounds
all of
fun.
our lives, probably, especially for me, it was where you had to go to GameStop.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you didn't go to Best Buy. You
didn't
didn't.
have-
You
Yeah.
had to go to GameStop.
You couldn't
So you'd
order
look-
Yeah.
No,
from
you had-
Amazon?
yeah, no,
It was
no.
so much fun. Well, before I started working there.
No.
It was fun at the beginning. Being like a game advisor
Yeah.
is a lot of fun
That's
because
cool.
you do get to sit around
Is
and
that
talk.
what they're really called?
They're called
oh,
GAs,
that's the
game
best.
advisors.
Game advisor.
I want that on my resume. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. I'm gonna go down. I'm just gonna go work part
GA.
time. I'm gonna go work part time at the one down the street.
But GameStop is super corporate. I don't know how it is now. It's probably still super, super corporate.
Yeah.
Especially now that they're coming down in defeat, versus digital downloaded games.
Yeah.
But anyway, so me and Zach, we met each other when we were in middle school on Rainbow Six Vegas.
Really?
No, not Vegas. What was
Rainbow
it? Rainbow
Six, just Rainbow Six. 2?
It was, I know Broken
Black
Arrow was
Arrow?
the Black Arrow.
Broken Arrow, even
Broken
better.
Arrow, Black Arrow,
It's
something
Black-
like that.
It's Black Arrow.
But
We did
anyway.
play Black Arrow together. I didn't realize that
did.
we played. That's actually, I forgot. So we played that before Halo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That was
Halo 1 was out, and then, but Rainbow Six was the first big game for
Xbox Live.
Xbox Live.
It was.
Along with some other crappy games.
Yeah. Unreal Championship was there too.
Yeah,
That was a big
yeah.
game for me. That was like Unreal Championship, then Rainbow. That's where I met
Yeah.
you, I guess, and then
The rest of the
Elliptical.
crew, yeah.
Yeah.
Elliptical, Killer J.
Killer J, T2000, and Zeus. Do you remember those guys? Smoke You, the clan Smoke You. They got.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that I met. Safe Alani. I met a bunch of people on that game.
I was living in Waco, Texas at the time, and he was still in Virginia.
Yeah.
And then, so we played up through, I think, college. It just got too busy for me. And I really kind of had an exodus from games in general. I quit GameStop, stopped playing games. College was just too busy for me. And then I got back into games after college, just purely PC. That's all I played. Love PC gaming. And then I most recently, I think last October, bought an Xbox One. And all these dudes were still playing Halo.
You were like, you can't throw some more variety in here, guys? Come on.
Well, Halo is a big game that we also played besides Rainbow Six, right? We played a lot of Halo together.
We played a
lot of Halo 2.
We played a lot of Halo 2. We were good at Halo 2.
Halo
I'm not
2
trying
is
to honk
win.
my horn.
Right, but I've done it before on the podcast.
This is in Zach's leaderboard days,
yeah,
right?
that's when I was like getting into competitive gaming.
For a while, I was top 200 in Rumble Pit.
Yeah,
I was kicking ass. I had middle school, had nothing better to do. Or high school, whatever. High
It's
school.
so much fun. That's
It was
still the
so-
pinnacle
oh my God.
of my gaming experience is Halo
We would
2.
spend hours
all night.
We just
talk.
Just sit there and talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wouldn't even
That's
play
sweet.
half the time.
just had a big group of guys in like a room and
Yeah.
just talking, just having fun.
It's nice. It's how you connect. It's how you connect with each other.
Weird, yeah.
It's weird.
It's strange.
It is strange.
So I didn't realize that it was that long ago. I thought this was more of a recent connection. That
Like,
you
it
guys...
blows my mind
Well-
that Spencer predates the Halo days.
Yeah,
That is
I
pretty
thought
cool.
this was like a
Pre-Halo.
couple of years
I
ago,
kinda
or
forgot
since
that
he
too.
lived here. I thought it was because
However,
it was when you were
if
lived
you had
here.
met me, you met me before. You met me last summer.
Yeah.
That's before we met up.
Oh, and
Yeah.
And
you
if
guys
you-
hadn't met in person yet.
So
And if you had mentioned a cheat code to me, I'd probably be like, I kind of remember him.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
right?
So I got onto. I was hesitant to buy Halo 5s because the reviews were kind of shot. I think it got like a 6, which it deserves a 6 on single player. It sucks.
Single player's
but
no good.
The multiplayer is still
It's
the
fantastic.
crispest first person shooter you can get.
yeah.
It's challenging. It's balanced. It's great. But anyway, so I logged on to Halo after purchasing it, and all these guys were still online. So I think they just invited me to the party, and I was like,
so.
"Oh, hey guys!"
It's like all of us.
It's like 6 years.
It's like 5 of us.
It's
it
like
was-
no time has passed.
It was
what's up,
like
man?
that. It was just like right back into the firefight.
Yeah, you go rockets, I'll go snipe.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it.
and we started call outs and all that kind of stuff all over again. And then I think Zach was like, "Hey, so what are you doing these days?" And I asked everybody, and Zach was like, "Oh, I'm in film." And then Lithgow, another buddy of ours, was like, "Yeah, I'm a coach," and then I'm a doctor.
Yeah,
from the rest of
2
the guys,
doctors.
and I was like, "I'm in banking," and which was really strange. Like, you know, all these kids who you grew up playing Halo with now having careers. But
Were
then
you
I
thinking
was
like,
like,
that guy shouldn't be a doctor?
yeah, I was like, "Have you seen the way
That
he
can't
shoots?"
be right.
See the way he shoots, he's not accurate.
His name
How's
is
he
terrible.
supposed to do surgeries? But yeah. So let's see. Train of thought.
So, but I said I was in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and no, I mentioned that I
Maybe you
also had
did.
a part-time job at Whitehorse, which is a bar.
Right.
And I was working security, and he was like, "Wait, you work at Whitehorse?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Really?" And so later, I'm working security. I'm just standing around looking for people to kick out. And this kid is like sitting there staring at me from the corner of the bar.
It's true story.
And I'm like, what is
And
this?
just staring at you.
Yeah,
Just
I'm like, what is this kid's problem? He's about to get thrown out. And I walk up and he's like, a cheat code? I'm like,
and
oh,
knew it'd be
Terminator Z.
Terminator Z.
I can
Yep.
I can
And that's the
absolutely
story of
imagine
our friendship.
cheat code.
Yeah.
Hey,
We
Oh
hugged,
my
and then you went
God.
back to
Yeah,
work.
we hugged and then
and I had
we
a beer.
just hung out.
Yeah.
You know?
We've been
That's
hanging
the
out.
best story ever.
How many because I was thinking, and there's other things I probably should have done that would have been more interesting. How many opportunities does one person get in their lives that I had with you? I knew who you were when I got there,
None.
but you didn't know who I was.
did you like Facebook
yeah,
stalking
that
before?
was-
Yeah, I
strange.
think I saw you on Facebook,
Okay.
and you said you worked security, and I saw this guy working security. You know, I saw him
You're just
walking
like
around
that dude.
security.
That dude kind of looks
Did
like the
his
guy
name
on
tag
Facebook
say
stalking.
cheat
No,
code?
I don't know
Like,
how I
did-
like knew. Maybe I saw a picture of you on Facebook. But
Yeah, I
that
was
probably
trying
one
to-
time in your life where like this, you didn't know who I was. I was just looking at you because I thought it'd be funny, and you were just like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" And I was like, "This is hilarious." I
was
gotta like,
great.
write it
It
out.
was
That's
great.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now we're best friends.
Yep.
Forever.
Nice.
You know?
Forever. Yep.
Never
Love
letting you go, Term.
No, we're too good
He's,
together.
he's my savior in Overwatch. He's saved me many times at the
Yeah.
May wall.
Oh, the
Hell
mail.
yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
very nice.
Please don't
move.
Sweet. Well, since you are the guest on this episode, you are the one who gets to choose the topic. And we got it. Zach told us briefly what it was, but he didn't go into super detail.
Okay.
So fill us in on what we're going to be talking about today.
So basically, I have a background in visual arts. My dad's always been into art, and I've always been into art. I'm a painter myself. And so art in video games is an amazing thing. Just
Definitely.
concept art, environmental art, and that makes or breaks a feeling in a game. I don't know. So, for instance, I mean, Skyrim, incredible concept art, and it came out into play. The Division, not so great. It's kind of boring, like it's just buildings and people running around in regular ass clothes. Like, it's not that fun. So I wanted to know, your top game visually, whether it's aesthetic or something that drew you in, or just something that's, what is your favorite aesthetic of a game? And then there's going to be a follow-up question, which is, hold on, let me get my notes out.
While he's doing that.
What are your notes written on the back of, by the way?
A bank form. It's a teller form. It's the closest thing I had to me. So what draws you into a game visually? So I'm talking about, what is the artistic style?
Okay.
For me, I really like dark, gothic, kind of.
You like Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, Diablo 2.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second. And then what visual style do you not appreciate? Like, I love Overwatch. Overwatch is a fantastic game. I love StarCraft 2, but I hate Blizzard's art style. I hate Blizzard's art style. I just can't stand it. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot. There's a lot. I have a lot
Yeah.
that comes to my mind. That I know that there was an episode, I think, that someone asked us to make our perfect video game, wasn't it?
Yeah, a long
Wasn't
time
that
ago.
a long time ago?
A guy, and we just haven't got around to it. Oh, before we
But
get
we
to
did
this,
briefly.
you're kind of like barely off frame, so I didn't know if you lean all the way back.
Yeah,
So-
go keep further back, Brogan.
I just wanted to let you know, so that way,
Too
if you
far
watch
in.
it later and you're like, "Jeez, why did Jarrett cut me off out of frame?" And I'm just letting you know that. Yeah,
it's just like it's right here.
Just crop me right out.
Just Jarrett.
all right. Anyway, so I.
Yeah, you want me to start? So
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Give us
I mean,
give us
there's
good
a lot
exam-
that I
some
can
good
say
stuff.
about
Yeah.
this.
So I mentioned earlier, dark and gothic kind of work like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is incredible just because you walk out into a setting and it's just castles and buildings, and then there's things in the distance. There's objects moving around the air, and also the characters. The character design is incredible. Dark Souls is also a game, I'm sure this is kind of obscure, but you die so often, you have to go through levels so often that you can really take in the environment.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good
With a
point.
lot of games,
It's
you're
great
just
that I have to
sprinting
replay
through.
this so many times. Look at how much
time
I'm
walking through
absorbing. I can really appreciate how
Good spin. Yeah, good.
But
way
you
to
pick
look
up
at it.
little things. I think the most recent Dark Souls 3, me and my friend had a big discussion about the library. I'm not sure if you guys
I haven't
have
played
gotten-
Dark Souls
you
3
haven't
yet.
played
books are
Dark
for
Souls 3?
chumps.
So there's
You're a Dark Souls fan.
Yeah, I haven't played Dark Souls 3 though.
It's
Okay.
fantastic. It's incredible. But there's a level where it's all books in this giant kind of
You're describing my nightmare.
Well, good. It's Dark Souls.
but there's tubs of candle wax. And the wax is like overflowing, and it's surrounded by these bad guys that have candles on their heads, and then arms coming out of the books like a nightmare, And it's the level design's so awesome. You go up in a spiral up this level, and then you get up to the roof. But that level, for some reason, was just amazing.
Well, it sounds very realistic. I mean,
Yeah.
is realism something that you require for a game to be like? Is that really what your kind of perfect game would be?
I think I am drawn
Yeah.
to realism in the same way. Cell shading I can appreciate. Like Jet Set Radio Future. Of
That's
course,
what I was going to talk about. That and cell shading and
Cell shading is incredible in that game. Wind Waker, great cell shading. But I hate like Overwatch. It feels like I'm playing a
cartoon.
a cartoon,
Yeah.
like a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which initially, see, I'm with you in that I prefer realism. Like that's why or art style that is real. It not necessarily has to be a real setting like Dark Souls.
Right,
it's
but
like, but
it
just like
looks
looks real,
real.
feels real.
Yeah.
So when I first heard about Overwatch and like I was like, oh, Blizzard's making a shooter. Oh, that's cool. Like they've usually just made like RTS games or and stuff and RPGs, and then the first images of it started coming out, and I was like, a big talking gorilla? What? I was very much like, what are you doing here, Blizzard? And then I saw, and then
Still a shooter, right?
They announced, yeah, that's kind of what I was like, what is this? Is this going to be rated E for everyone? Because fuck off.
for everyone.
I think it made a T rating, right?
Yeah, it's
Do you know there's blood
it's
in that
T.
game?
There is.
There is.
There
Very
is.
small
Yeah,
amount.
if you hit
Yeah, more than
Yeah.
Halo 5.
But
very true.
That's impressive.
I forget Halo 5's T too.
it is. That's right.
It
I
is.
forget about
the
that.
first Halo game that's rated teen.
That's
I mean,
sucks.
there is a
Suckers.
conversation there with aesthetics and what you kind of prefer. Because in Halo 3, this is going to sound sadistic, but I used to love to see where blood would go after I killed somebody.
Splatter.
Yeah.
We've talked about Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
How we love to turn the gravity off and the blood all the way up.
Yeah. You see the bodies like cut in half and like fly up.
But then I saw Blizzard's first cinematic that they made for it with the two kids in the museum. That's like the Overwatch museum, and I got a feel for what they were trying to do with the game, and I was like, okay, I'm way more on board now. And now that I play it, I still like it. True, yes, it's an odd art style for sure because it is very much a cartoon feeling, which does have that weird juxtaposition of, well, then why am I mercilessly slaughtering everyone that I come in contact with? But I don't know. But yeah, so I've grown to love it more than I thought I did when I first saw it, I will say.
For me, for Overwatch, for example, it seems to fit the aesthetic fine, but you compare it to a game like Jet Set Radio, something about Jet Set Radio for me calls forth more of a cel-shaded atmosphere. There's some sort of complementary juxtaposition there that is actually working on a level that feels like I feel like Overwatch could be a little different and it would still work fine. Jet Set Radio, on the other hand, I feel like almost should be that way.
It's dependent upon.
They're very much more of like integrated with each other, like the gameplay style plus the look. Where Overwatch, which I've become to like as well, but if I were to make my game, it would not look like Overwatch.
No.
Overwatch would be so interesting if it was based on realism. It'd
Yeah.
be so weird.
It wouldn't make sense. It'd be so trippy.
different.
Because like Winston's running around looking like a real gorilla with like a suit on. I'm like, what the
so weird.
fuck? Like,
It'd be awesome if somebody made like a short,
Yeah,
yeah,
That
but
would be
like
cool.
some characters would be cool, like Tracer, Reaper.
Yeah, I could almost see it.
McCree.
Honestly.
Like
I
you could see it,
almost
but some of them are kind of out there, and you're like, "What is this?" Like,
I don't know.
But one game though that I will say and I don't know if it's necessarily the art style, but it's the art style combined with the marketing that I was just like, no, and I didn't like the game anyway. But Battleborn came out about the same time, a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I saw you playing
of
that.
Overwatch. I just got the beta, played it, and I was like, no. Not
Oh,
for me.
that's the
But
game
that's
from
Gearbox.
Yeah, that makes what's the game that they make? The other one,
Borderlands?
Which
yeah.
I love the art style of Borderlands.
I appreciate the art style in Borderlands.
It's cel shaded though, right?
It's
Is it?
more. It's almost like a graphic novel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Borderlands
Yeah,
is
it's
really
almost like
thick
crazy
black,
style.
Okay.
really
Yeah,
thick
yeah.
black lines, kind of like comic book style.
Okay.
But the reason with Battleborn is so in all of their marketing and like the trailers and everything before they put out for it, they're like, "You're a badass." They even say it in the trailer, and they're like, "Badasses from all over, badass, 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 badass." And then you look at the characters and their art style that they chose, and they're like, "Okay."
You don't feel like
I don't feel like a badass, and they don't look like badasses to me.
Yeah.
And so even watching the trailers as part of this, I'm like, be a badass, and I'm just like, but none of these characters I'm seeing
First
in
of
front of
all,
me look like badasses.
I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
Problem number one.
Yeah.
I will be whoever I want to be. Second, I agree. It's like, why would you try to sell me this story that you are clearly not backing up with your artistic styling?
Yeah.
Like, the disconnect doesn't make any sense.
Right.
The game that I saw you playing, I was like, oh, this looks fun. And I was really thinking of it in the
looks
sense
childish,
of,
like-
it looks childish.
Yeah, it
This
does.
looks like it
Childish.
could be a kid's game. So to hear that that's how they were marketing it is like baffling to me.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if that's why that game didn't do so well, or if the people
Yeah,
were just
that's
like,
like-
oh, we
like, I
don't
don't even
need.
hear
we
about
Like,
don't
you
need
got to
another
know
MOBA.
your audience. Clearly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think they tried to play off of Borderlands, which is very much like, you are a badass, and it's true, you are a badass. You get ridiculous weapons that blow people to smithereens all over the planet of Pandora, and so that's what they've been into. That's what they've been known for. And then they're like, we're trying to sell our new game, and it's just as much action as Borderlands, and it's not.
It just doesn't work.
And it just didn't work.
Did anybody play Zone of the Enders?
Oh Oh, yes.
I did not.
Incredible
That's
game.
a good obscure game. Mark
never
that
played
one
it.
down for
For
obscure
what?
games.
What was it on?
It was for PlayStation 2.
It
and
was.
the reason me and my brother got it was because they had, and shout out to Blue Fire, Luke, love you. The reason me and my brother got it,
Swing the hammer.
swing the hammer.
See Trollbeer?
He was playing as
Reinhardt.
Reinhardt.
okay.
And he didn't like know how to, or I don't
And
know.
our buddy Elithgold,
Who's like a who's like competitive
who was
Overwatch
like,
player.
Yeah, very competitive.
Yeah.
Evidently, Luke was not swinging his hammer, and Elithgold was repeating it like a ship was sinking. Swing the hammer, swing the hammer.
Apparently, Luke just got offline. Just left.
Anyway, so Zone of the Enders was the reason me and my brother got it was because it had the demo disc for Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty.
Oh, okay.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and it was just the beginning where you were on the boat of you were on the Russian boat in Metal Gear, hunting down the Metal Gear or the nuclear weapon, something like that. You know, Metal Gear stuff. you know?
It's all discombobulated.
But Zone of the Enders was also made by what's his name? Who's the guy who produces all the Metal Gears? Kojima.
Hideo
Yeah.
Kojima.
Amazing soundtrack.
He's
if you
the
haven't
dude.
listened to
He has
that,
great soundtracks.
Zone of the Enders, incredible soundtrack. But the art style, it was made on the Fox engine, so the same engine as Metal Gears. So it's very realistic, but you were in a mech. Right?
It was awesome.
Okay. You were
Yeah,
flying
you were
around.
like in a Gundam. That's because
That's
this
awesome.
was during my Gundam wing phase, so
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
very
it was
into mechs.
incredible. And so it was a 3D action kind of shooter. And you were flying around, go up and down.
You really had a lot of freedom of movement
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you
you
could like
did.
just move around in space. It was pretty interesting.
All the robots look like Metal Gear, so it was incredible. That's one of my favorite art styles. The guy who does all the Metal Gear illustrations and the concepts, incredible. But the second game, Zone of the Enders, second runner, was cel shaded after that Fox game.
I
And
did
it was,
not play the second one.
I don't think anybody
No.
did. The second one actually did
There's
terribly.
not been a third.
I did know that there was a second
Yeah.
one, but actually we rented the original Zone of the Enders from Blockbuster, and I think my mom was like out of town, so Dad was like, Psh, "Yeah, it's fine." And then Mom got back, and I think it was rated T for teen or something, and we were like 10 at the time, and she was like, "No," so we had to take it back, and I was like, "No, Mom,
Teen? No.
there's nothing wrong with it." And she did not believe us.
But that's an example of a developer, using art style that I really enjoyed. And then I think they just handed it off to maybe another studio, or something like that. And they went back to this kind of cartoony anime-ish. Just didn't do it for
Didn't
me.
work. Well, I have a question for you, Mogan, because I think Zelda has been through probably the most
Artistic evolution.
Very true.
Or I
Yeah,
wouldn't
right.
even call it evolutions. It's just variations.
Transition.
Yeah,
variation.
because each Zelda game looks different artistically, like
That's
a lot
how
different.
it should be.
It's cool.
It keeps it fresh.
It does.
It keeps
It's
it
cool
fresh.
that
They
they
need
have.
to do a Wind Waker style Halo next. Master
no, they
Chief
should.
is
Zach is like, that's
that is
rock
a
with
really
Halo.
good
Halo's
idea.
fine.
You
Even-
can quote me on that.
That's another question I'll come back to. It's like Halo 1 versus Halo 5, and like what I guess there's the difference there. But anyways, I'm curious about Zelda and what is either your favorite or what do you think reflects the atmosphere of the game best? Like which one complements each other? I mean, like Skyward Sword, for example. That had a pretty. Did you play that one?
I did. Don't insult.
How dare you?
First of all, how dare you? Second of all,
make those
Skyward
games.
Sword. It did. Yeah, right. I wish. Skyward Sword got a lot of mixed reviews. I think it's a very underrated installment in the series, and a huge part of that is artistically. Skyward Sword's artistry was, I thought, gorgeous. People really panned it as being like a bizarre fusion of the cel-shaded graphics you had from Wind Waker and the more realistic graphics you had from Twilight Princess.
That's pretty much like the new one too, right?
It is.
But the new one does look good.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
that's the
Really
thing. That's
good.
the thing. A lot of people were like, "Psh, Skyward Sword, we wanted another Twilight Princess." And it's like, guys, you're never going to get another Twilight Princess. Please give it up.
You can only have perfection.
You can
once.
only have perfection. Exactly. And that's why Nintendo does this, I think. They recognize if we're redoing the same, we're basically making the same game over and over and over again. We already know this. So they have to, in a way, they have to continue to update it artistically because it's the hinge of how the game continues to be popular. and how people are still interested. So it's like you have to progress. You can't stay stagnant when you have a decades-long franchise.
Yeah, they have. It's not. I won't call it a luxury because they've earned it, but they really have the. It's a great ability to have as a long-running game to be able to morph so many different times. I wonder if that's something they went into it with, or if like, what was the first game that really took a departure from what Zelda looked like, despite like the over-top Game Boy ones. Like you get into.
I think it was Wind Waker, right?
Wind Waker was definitely a huge departure from where they were headed, but I mean, you could kind of say that A Link to the Past was already a huge leap, because before that, they only really had the very first Zelda, and then whatever the weird second one was that I can't even recall. Link's Adventure of Link?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Well, do you think that's due to like the console change and maybe the engine change, or?
That might be the console change. Well, A Link to the Past was SNES, right?
I don't know.
Probably NES, Super NES.
One that gets brought up a lot, and not for aesthetic purposes, but more for atmosphere, is Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
So I do think
game.
that Majora's
I've never played
Mask
it. I really
and
want
both
to.
Twilight Princess actually are kind of atmospherically outliers. They definitely are made to be a little bit more dark as a Zelda game can get, which if you think about it hard enough,
they get
if
dark.
you think about it hard enough, they're all pretty dark, and you're like, oh god,
Yeah,
Link's
from hearing
only
you
10.
talk about him.
He shouldn't be doing any of this. He needs to be in school.
He's just a boy.
Just Hyrule that have no schools. Come on.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, go out there and live life.
School of sword fighting. That's all he ever does.
Hell yeah. I'd go to that school.
I think in Spirit Tracks, he's like 10 and he's already training to be a train conductor, like an engineer. And it's like, I guess they go straight into vocational school at the age of 5. I guess
He is kind of like a little homeless punk, though. He's like breaking everybody's pots.
He's just a little homeless kid. And
Stealing
people are
chickens.
like, okay,
Stealing
son,
money.
guess we'll give you a job. You can harass our chickens and take all of our money, and we feel bad for you, so no one's going to say anything about it.
The old man's like, I gotta get a root canal. Thank goodness I put the money in that pot. And then Link comes in, smash.
They're like,
money.
God damn.
Thanks, I needed that.
Well, in Skyward Sword, they made it to where you couldn't get rupees out of people's cupboards because it was like, it's not polite to go through other people's things.
That's good.
So I was like,
I'm glad they laid down some
and
law.
hoes. Can't believe these sons of bitches. That was taking it too far, Nintendo. That's where you lost me. But back to the artistry. They have to keep it moving. Like, they cannot
That's part
afford
of their identity.
Exactly. They cannot afford to continue with one particular style. They can do remakes, which I still find a lot of value in, but you can't regress.
Yeah.
You can't go back to where you were. They have to continue progressing.
That's interesting.
I think where it started really changing would have been either A Link to the Past, which was one of the very first games to actually integrate atmospheric changes. You start the game and it's raining, and people's minds were blown just by, oh, it's raining. It's nighttime. There's lightning. Shit's going on. Because in the original, the very first game, there was nothing. It was colors and blocks that were meant to be plants, and you had no direction. It was just a flat plane.
Yeah.
A Link to the Past, even though it was still top down, they added so much more detail to the world around that it was like, oh, this is a game changer. Right after that would really probably be Ocarina of Time. That was a huge departure from what they had been before. So it would have been Ocarina of Time. Majora's Mask atmospherically was different, but aesthetically was really the same as Ocarina of Time. And then Wind Waker was a huge departure. And I think Wind Waker kind of opened the floodgates of, well, we did Wind Waker, and that rocked.
Right,
We can do whatever we want.
Right.
We've got free reign now.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want. And people were like, yes, this is what we
I
wanted.
told you many times, Twilight Princess is the only one that I've played all the way through, and that I could not see. I would not want to go to any other kind of style. That was such a great style for me.
You can't limit yourself.
I know,
man.
but I thought that was such a wonderful,
what's
unique
wrong
way.
with
unique.
you?
But, for me, I was like, this is an awesome. Like, I didn't know. This is one of the first ones I played. I was like, well, I didn't know Zelda looked like this. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Did I ever tell you that when we were playing like really high level matches in Halo 2, like looking for parties to fight?
You would play.
I would speedrun Ocarina of Time.
Speedrun. Oh, we had a whole conversation about
We did.
speedruns.
We did.
Yeah.
I can't believe that one didn't come up. Did it not at all?
I don't know. I don't think
don't
so.
remember.
People
Time.
love to speedrun Ocarina of Time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that's a
crazy.
popular
classic
one.
game.
It's got all kinds of cheats you can use.
Another Nintendo game around that same generation that kind of blew my mind artistically and with like a brand and an aesthetic of like, this is a whole new world is Metroid Prime, which you mentioned I think a
Metroid
couple
Prime.
episodes back.
The Master.
Oh my gosh, that game blew my mind. Just the environments, the characters. It was great.
So I'm not over it. Do you know anything about Other M?
No, that was during my hiatus from video
Good, you
games.
picked a good time to bow out.
So I was going to tell you this. I meant to send it to you. I saw somebody posted on Reddit in the Overwatch subreddit. They had done. I think they just took like a still of Farah from the game, but they colored her with Samus's colors, and I was like,
Oh, I could see that.
"That'd be."
That's
I could
very
see it. It looked pretty
cool.
badass.
Yeah, I
I've
could
seen
totally see
people
that.
say like, "Oh, Farah's basically Sky Samus," and I'm like, "Yes, that's the
Actually,
best."
Are you using Anna every time?
No, actually,
No?
I'm really bad with Anna,
No.
so I tend to actually stick with Farah or Lucio.
Okay.
That's my support.
Go support your
Support your support, and they never do.
No.
They never do.
It's
They
'cause
let me
when you're
die
when
all
you're
the
doing it,
time.
they're just like, do your job. Thanks for doing your job.
And
But
then-
if someone else is doing it, like support your sport.
This damn Bastion was like, I need healing. Bitch, I'm right here. I'm right fucking
Heal
here.
yourself, Bastion.
Heal yourself. I was so
God
mad.
knows you can.
But what were we talking about?
So I was gonna
Metroid Prime.
Oh yeah.
So just real quick, yes, Metroid Prime was a huge revolution for the Metroid series. I mean, that's really where they... Damn it. That's really where they brought it into the present. And then they did Other M, and it was like, oh, okay, 10 steps back. We're back in the Dark
Let's go
Ages,
back.
everybody.
We went too far.
Let's pull it back. We
We're
made
uncharted
too
territory.
much progress
We don't know
too
what we're
fast.
doing.
We got to bring it back. And it's like, please don't. Just continue with the path you were on.
So getting back to like the your question with the like what draws you to a game, like I said, I like the realism, and so I mean, it's my favorite game. I have to give a shout out to The Last of Us and how they
That's super realistic.
and how they did. I even actually bought the book, The Art of The Last of Us, for all of its concept art because I love it.
That's
so
concept
much.
art?
Yeah.
I really want to talk about concept
Yeah.
art
You
and
know-
how that plays into a game.
That is almost too realistic for me.
Really,
Yeah.
like
I
just
Well, they got
it's-
like mocap faces
Of
of
all
actors.
games.
Yeah.
It's really realistic.
That like more than something like
well because it does
Call of
it does
Duty?
really well. I felt it displayed the best post-apocalyptic world. See, like Division is like, okay, things went to shit, but it's just like
It's like
it
copy
still looks
paste.
like it. Pretty much,
You know?
And the one thing that always kind of bugged me through this game is like the Agent Lau will come on. She's just like, things are really turning around in this city. People are starting to go back to their
Right,
homes. I'm
right,
like, then
right.
why are there fucking dead bodies in the streets still?
Right.
God, like clean it up. And
she's
they're all
probably
happy.
like, oh, it was already like that.
But-
Like, you weren't here before.
But The Last of Us, it ties into somewhat with the underlying theme of the disease, the virus that breaks out is from a fungus, so it's nature based, and it shows the corruption of nature destroying humans with like the clickers and the infected and all that stuff, and so it's like an interesting aside that then most of the cities are completely overgrown with vegetation, and it's like nature retaking it,
Like
and
with
so
the-
it's just a cool like
Yeah,
nod to like the
exactly.
source and how they integrate the plant life and the vegetation, showing the decaying buildings and everything. It was just excellent.
Like in the Division, if you remove the threat, you just have a city.
Yeah.
It was very bland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In The
It
Last
was.
of Us,
Division
if
was
you
very
remove the
bland.
clickers, you're still left with somewhere where you can visibly tell.
Yeah.
Shit happened. Something's wrong.
Right.
So that
Well, and
type
because
of
The
world
Last of Us
building.
takes place, it starts at the outbreak and then jumps ahead 20 years.
Yeah.
So it had a lot of time for things to go to shit and decay. But that for me, and just how it's overall like it's a darker thing, but it's also very beautiful in a weird, twisted way, And so that's why I like it. But also I am one, like I kind of alluded to, I'm not one to kind of want to go to the cartoonish, more fun looking game, fun art style games. But then I find myself being
fun.
consistently surprised whenever I do that I actually do like the game. So that's why I'm trying to open my horizons to that more and get away from the more realistic games and play them. Probably my favorite one of a game like that, I've mentioned it before, is Bastion by Supergiant, because it's the one that's all
right
the
on.
backgrounds are all watercolored. Very beautifully done game. And then obviously Severed.
I love matte backgrounds. What I mean by matte is like the pre-drawn background.
Me too.
Right.
You can tell
Right.
it's a drawing.
Have you seen or looked at Bastion at all?
I can't bring it up in my mind, but I have seen Bastion.
It's,
Oh, yeah,
is
that's
that
the
poster
main character
there's
behind
a-
you.
There's one
Is that-
poster behind you.
Of the character.
Down low.
Oh, down low. Sorry. It's literally, I haven't hung it up yet. I need to get on that.
He's pretty badass.
Yeah.
He's a kid. He's
I know.
got
Looks like a kid
grenades.
Genji.
Yeah, yeah, a little Genji.
It's a fun game, and it's probably super cheap. So
Matte backgrounds, I guess. Is that the technical? Is that what we'll call them? That is something that I
Well,
do.
because that's what they did in
I've
old
always
school
played them
animation. Like,
pre-rendered. Do people not use that terminology anymore?
I feel like matte applies
It's like
to
still.
to
It's like a
film.
painting.
Yeah, it's like a painting. Like
Like in the old well, like any old Walt Disney movie, like the original, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, everything is just like a pre-done as a pre-drawn background.
Right.
Well, Wizard of Oz is that way.
Right.
Anime,
anything
dude, it does it
old
all
like
the
that.
time.
they're tricky about it too.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
seriously.
like they're still matte, but then they have layers of clouds and
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
right.
So it looks amazing.
They're
Right.
stepping up. Sometimes I'll see GIFs from like an anime, and I'm like, "Oh, look at that beautiful real life GIF," and it's like, "Oh no, that's from a show," and I'm
Right.
like, "You sons of
crazy.
bitches!"
I remember walking around the original Halo, and I would just like stand on a cliff and look out over to like the sky, which I'm pretty sure is matte. Like I don't think it's not like Halo 3 where there's banshees and choppers flying around and fighting, which is also cool. Which I think is like, oh wow, look how far we've progressed. They've made this whole sky turn into a war zone, and like I'm not even over there. Wow, it's cool. But I used to love there is something that you can get really detail oriented about a matte background. Something that you can. It's almost like concept art. It's like something that it's almost easier to appreciate than a real-time rendered background that's like there's
because you
action
can
going on.
give so much detail to it because
You
it's
can
still.
exactly. So it's like someone's painting there, and to look at the Halo ring. I used to. Oh man, I can't remember. I like would slowly follow the Halo ring all the way up, and I'm like, oh, and there's the shift where it goes dark. You know, it's like a little slash, and then it's all lit up like it's the night sky on the other side of the ring. It's crazy. It's beautiful.
I was playing Halo Combat C last night from.
Oh,
Master Chief
so you're
Collection.
still playing it?
So I was still playing it.
How far along are you?
Oh, I'm just on the second.
So
second
you're on the
mission.
ring.
So I just got on the ring, and I
Delta
legitimately
Halo.
just did that.
Yeah, you
Looked
looked
up and followed it all the way around to see it.
That's what I used to do it. That's a great map to do it on. It's like there's
Nice.
some,
Speaking of the progression of Halo and where it's come, the elite homeworld of Sang Helios was a
Incredible.
beautiful
Yeah.
environment.
And
Like,
really
I think
a
I
lot of
liked
details.
it the most of any other Halo environment
really
that I've
good.
been on. It was
Just
excellent.
The rock carvings and like the statues are amazing.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what disappointed me the most about Halo 5 was the environments and the characters were amazing. New Spartan armor looks incredible. Whichever concept artist designed all that, which whenever you flip through all of the armors you can unlock,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. Somebody sat there like drew this out.
Here's a new one.
and then designed them and was like, well, let's add horns to this one.
Right.
You know, let's. I don't know what
Amazing.
else.
I
look badass.
unlock 150 helmets. I don't like any of them.
Yeah.
But I will say that. There's none that I want. I'm like, I don't want this one. I don't want this one.
I just want the standard one.
Yeah.
The campaign
Someone
was.
spent hours
I know.
making
I
that
need
for
something,
you.
something interesting.
He's like, no, don't like it either.
Nope, don't like it. Too
Go back to the
too
drawing
boxy. Yeah.
But you know, the campaign was so beautiful and it was very true to the Halo. Everything was gigantic and bigger than you. That's been
Very
from
important.
Halo 1
Very important.
all the way to this one is it's things are giant.
Yeah.
You're a small little guy sprinting around in an armored suit. But the story, oh my god.
Yeah,
What the hell
it was
happened?
lacking.
Who hit their head?
And there's something, but I will say there was something lacking just from an aesthetic standpoint, like an artistic standpoint from Halo 5. Yes, it was beautiful, but it was so. This might get more into cinematics and gameplay. There was so much action oriented in that game, and they didn't give, like in Halo 1 and 2, time to breathe and time to think or time to like reflect. In Halos, I think I would argue there's a lot of reflection that takes place from Master Chief's perspective and what's happening around him. You know, this was like go go go.
Yeah,
You're always on
very
the move.
fast-paced.
You know, but that's like how games are being made now. You know, Call of Duty
Gotta
and
keep you
Battlefield. They're supposed to be like
entertained and, like,
right. You got to suck
dialed
you
in.
Right. And I just remember. I don't know how you felt about it specifically, or you guys felt about it, but I did not like at all the opening cinematics of them flying out of the.
Dropping
them
out of
running
And they're
dropping.
snowboarding down the hill, and they're killing.
that. What
Like,
it
a battle-
looked cool, but like at
No,
the
it
same
looks
time,
cool, but
at
a
the same
battle
time,
with
no,
an
yeah.
elite is not to be taken lightly.
Yeah,
That is,
yeah.
but they're supposed to be
In the Halo lore, yeah.
in the Halo lore. Those can kill Spartans, and every battle. And Halo 1 does a good job of like making it feel like, oh shit, there's two
Oh,
elites
elites are
here.
hard.
Yeah, it's hard. So if you play on Legendary 2, that's
I think I'm playing it on
heroic.
heroic.
That's what I usually do. I usually go through heroic, then I try Legendary. But
Well, wait,
if
which
you're-
one's the hardest?
Legendary?
Okay, so I'm playing the one step down.
Yeah,
Is that normal?
heroic. No.
Okay,
You're
cool.
one up.
Okay,
You're
I'm
one
playing
up.
heroic.
And heroic's tough too. But
Yeah.
Legendary Halo 1, that is hard. But that's something, and I don't know if we're still like on the top of like, you know, artistic style, but that's more of just an overall like feeling of the game. But I did not like the fact that you are unstoppable. Because I've expressed this before. Halo 4 always been like backs against the wall. You are the last hope,
Yeah.
and you don't have like a shot in hell to be able to do this. But that in Halo 5, I felt too powerful. Basically, is what I'm saying. And they're like gung ho about it. Like, you're the man. I was like, dude, come on. I'm supposed to be like defeated.
I'm trying to be humble here.
Right? Yes. Master Chief.
The difference in design too, the difference between the new Spartans and the old Spartans was pretty prominent there.
Yeah.
The old Spartans, the character design, they did a great job of making them look beat up. Looked like their armor was like mismatched and being replaced, and their weapons, like they were kind of stuck to them. With the new Spartans, they're all shiny and
very glossy.
very glossy, and
Totally.
and sprinting around and surfing on
They are.
on
They
stuff,
might as well be.
like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
But
That's what it's like.
it's I mean, it was great looking game, but come on.
Yeah, I did lack in a lot of like content.
Yeah. So did we get to your second question? I feel like you asked it, but
Yeah,
then
was
I
that
don't-
question 1?
What was that?
Yeah.
Next
Whoa.
question.
What was?
What just happened? Let's.
I just knew you asked both, and I couldn't remember if we actually circled back around and answered the second one.
I want to
Good
hear
starting point.
games that you were, and you've mentioned one already, but games that you were turned off, that you enjoy, but are turned off by the style of the game.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my major one, I think, I already said it, Overwatch. Yeah, Blizzard's stuff is always hit or miss. Whenever they announced Diablo 3, I was one of those people that were like, "What is this? What is this?" I was like banging my fist against the table, like, "What? Why is there rainbows? There should not be rainbows. This is a goth game."
Rainbows are a natural phenomena. They occur everywhere.
Yeah. It was like there should be blood and demons everywhere. There's
You
rainbows
can
and
have
butterflies.
both. You can have both.
A game.
I'm trying to think of one that
I
I've
don't want
already
to count Battleborn
played.
because I just played the beta of that, so like it's not like one that I spent a lot of time into.
I will say this. I haven't played it. I don't want to make this too big of a point because I think the game's going to be amazing. But No Man's Sky.
Not really doing much for you.
Not really. Yeah.
I mean, it's
kind
good.
of agree.
I like it. Like I almost see like I don't but I almost wish it was more realistic. I mean, it's pretty when you get onto the planet. It's pretty. From what I remember, right? It's kind of graphic novelty cartoony.
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
Right?
It seemed like it was very watercolory, like
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is beautiful, and it's like that's definitely a cool way to go. But at the end of the day, I do prefer more realism.
I do too. For I think
Morgan doesn't agree.
no. Well, and that's obvious from like the type of games that, that you talk about.
That's
and
just.
that
I
you
mean,
play.
and that's just because I'm trying to think of a game that I've played that I really didn't like. I like the gameplay, but I didn't like the look of it. And it's hard to think about that. It's hard
Yeah,
to,
because normally.
for
Sometimes those
Speed games.
those kind of games for me they make it more difficult for me to want to get into it and play it.
Need for Speed. I think that's a good one. Need for Speed. I love Need for Speed and how it plays, but I hate how it looks when you're going really fast and stuff. It doesn't look realistic. I prefer
just
Forza.
the way they like put the zoom.
The zoom, and you're like ice skating on the road instead of
I prefer Mario Kart, where
Crypt in the
you're in space on a rainbow bridge.
man. Mario Kart 8 looks really good. That's a
does.
good looking game.
So, man, I can't think of one off the top of my
Honestly,
head.
mine's Dark Souls.
Really?
I'm the exact opposite. Like, I love the gameplay of Dark Souls, but aesthetically, I can appreciate that Dark Souls is very detailed, very beautiful. The character design and the creature design, fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you showed me a picture of
man,
Dark
I
Souls,
fucking hate
and then you showed me a picture of any other game, any of them really, any Zelda game, any Mario game, any Splatoon, anything like that, anything that is bold and graphic, that, or by contrast, minimalistic. I think that's what gets me about Dark Souls. It's like when you're describing the landscape, like I think it's, actually this would have been Bloodborne. I was most recently playing Bloodborne and I was just like, all of this Baroque Gothic architecture is a little much. They went overboard. It's too many.
Gotten out of that era.
Exactly. They were like, they should have progressed to the minimalistic era. I'm definitely not drawn to that high of a level of detail. Every single thing has the tiniest detail. And while I appreciate that they took the time to do that, I aesthetically get so much more out of a game like Journey. That is very minimalistic, very geometric.
Still need to play Journey.
Very bold, very almost like not monotone, but the colors that they have are very stated. Like,
Right.
this is our color scheme. This is exactly what we're going for. And to have it be that defined without being too much. You look at Journey and you know exactly what it is. You look at Bloodborne and you're like, is that Dark Souls 1, 2, Demon Souls, Bloodborne,
That's very
Blood
true.
Souls,
Yeah, you
Dark
really can't.
Demons?
Which I mean, that
can't tell
somewhat
the
comes from the
difference
fact that it's the same developer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
that's true.
And it's the same storyline, kind of.
It
I'm
really
not sure. I
is.
haven't played Bloodborne yet.
So it would be a little weird, like with the Dark Souls series or anything like that, if they suddenly diverged significantly from where they were. Everyone would lose their shit. All the Dark Souls fans would be like, what the fuck is this?
Talking about that.
Dark Souls 4 is cell shaded.
Dark Souls 4! I'd be like, finally, a game for
The
me!
bosses are like smiling. They're
Yeah.
like, hey,
I'd be
We're
like,
not gonna
this is
fight.
50
great!
times.
Talking about divergence from where they've been, you bring up No Man's Sky. Have you looked at the other games that Hello Games has made?
No.
They made mobile games called like Joe Danger series, and it's like I believe they're like 2D side scroller. Like,
Really?
You know, obviously touch based responsive because
They
it's on mobile.
We're popular though.
And that they
must
did
have
really
made
well.
money.
So, but they're moving from that
Yeah.
to No Man's Sky,
Well,
which is ridiculous.
I don't want to like knock that.
No.
you
I know you're not.
I
knocking
totally
it. It's just the art
appreciate
style
it.
doesn't. I mean, that's.
But
that's
I'm
the thing
sure it
about
works
art.
well.
Somebody likes it one. They look at it and they're like, "I love that." Another
Right.
person comes up to me and is like, "That is crap."
And
I don't
will,
like that.
I will say, talking about games that I prefer that are more realistic, there is a level, and I think you mentioned it with The Last of Us being something that was, it's too realistic. There is something that I still prefer, like video games looking like video games. It looks like I'm playing a video game.
Yeah.
There is something to that
Yeah.
I do still would like. And I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is a good example because that's a realistic game,
But
for
it
some
has a
reason,
cartoonish feel.
Yeah, there's something about it. Maybe it's like the bright colors or the physics of it, but there's something about it that doesn't feel that realistic.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think we're going more away from it now, especially with the popularity of indie games. But there was a time in gaming not that long ago where the standard was, how realistic does it look?
Right.
Well, because
that's
all the
super, yeah.
technology was
Right.
coming up to
Everything was
allow it.
talking
Everybody
about
was like,
that.
"Oh my god,
how
let's do it!"
realistic can we get this? And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're done.
Right.
Take it
We've
back.
kind of
Scale
plateaued.
it
I mean,
back,
games
people.
all look, you can make a game look really good now and make it realistic. And these other games that are departing from that are getting a lot of attention for that very reason, for departing from
Right.
trying to be super realistic.
And there was like one that they announced. There's one. So I will say, well, again, I've kind of said like cartoonish style games, and not counting anything like Mario. Mario games, like I love Mario, so
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
different.
That's
Mario's in a
different.
safe
It's a different
box.
thing. But if it's
We
like
won't hurt Mario.
so, I will say when I first saw the art and first saw a trailer for like Ori and the Blind Forest, I was like, I don't know.
Oh, dude, when I saw Ori and the Blind Forest,
That's-
I about cried.
that's, like, right up your alley,
Like,
though.
just from looking at it, I was like, it's so beautiful. And of course, I was listening to the soundtrack, so I was like, oh my God.
You know,
that's
and
exactly
now
what I
I've
look
listened to the soundtrack, I've seen more of it, and now I am like all about it. I bought it. And
Have you played it, right?
I bought it, but I haven't got to
okay.
it yet.
Oh,
Because somebody got me because I got Master Chief Collection.
Which, that takes precedence
know,
over
you know.
Ori.
on.
So
It is Blind
So I mean,
Forest.
I'm trying to think of one though that I legitimately like started playing. I'm like, I don't like this because of the art style. And I don't know if
That's
I can
a
really
tough-
think
it's
of
tough
one.
to-
It's a tough question.
I mean, really, this is probably more predominant with shooters, and part of the reason I love Overwatch so much is it isn't realistic.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the more realistic
yeah.
a game is, the less I want to play it.
It's
Yeah.
broken up
If-
the trend of being like
if they made No
hyper-realistic
Man's
shooter.
Sky look realistic, I'd be like, okay, great. I'm not going to play that.
Right, and they have the
I would
No
have
Man's
no
Sky-esque
interest.
games that already exist that are realistic, like Space Sims. I mean,
Yeah.
they have space
Yeah.
simulator.
And when I see
simulator
those,
games.
I'm like, boo.
they do look
Not
they
gonna
do look
play
more
that.
boring than
Exactly, they look
No
boring.
Man's Sky. They do look
like
because
I
I-
don't want to explore a realistic space.
I think No Man's Sky.
that would
like,
be awful.
That would suck.
No Man's Sky, I think with its art style makes it seem more fantastical.
Yeah.
and like
Exactly.
I actually think it
know.
works in its advantage very well, and I'm sure when I play it, I mean, I really want to play it regardless.
So Mass Effect 1, one of my favorite games design wise, just the way the characters look, the ships. I'm a huge fan of spaceships, so the ships have to be cool. But the way the game is set up looks awesome. It's a very flat game. I think the first one didn't have many textures to like the environment, which was weird.
Well, it's original Xbox.
It
No,
was
360.
But also their mission with Mass Effect was to make it look like an 80s film, an 80s sci-fi film. So
that's
they
cool.
put a film grain on top of the entire game.
That's really
You can
cool.
turn it on and off. Maybe that's only PC, but so yeah, it had a film grain to kind of take it away from being super video gamey.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Well, there is something about, and we talk about games that were trying to be very realistic, and I always laugh about NBA Courtside with Kobe Bryant, that game that I played like back in 01 or something, maybe 98. What am I talking about? It was late 90s, and they were hyping about how realistic it was going to be, and it's like it just the amount of time that how quickly technology progressed, that game got pushed back so quickly. And I wonder if. I don't think that's a real reason games would ever want to like not do that today. Like, hey, let's make something super realistic, and someone's like, oh, well, 5 years from now, it won't look that realistic. I still feel that.
I feel like now it's like the games that were made in the late '90s to the early 2000s.
If you were trying to make a really realistic game, then it doesn't look realistic anymore.
It does not look good. I think now what they're making will just be improved.
The test of time.
Will be improved upon and just keep looking better. But I don't think anybody's going to look at like I've been Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and they're going to be like, that looks like shit.
No,
I think they'll be like, that looks good.
But maybe they said that in the 90s. I don't know.
Exactly. I agree with that sentiment. I think, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to just blow our brains out with how much improvement they have.
They could.
There's always going to be that developer. Like, Crysis wasn't the best game in the book, but like,
they did have it
held the crown for looking incredible.
Yeah.
Of course, it would melt any computer. You played it on Ultra, but it happens.
Well, I want to talk about concept art just briefly.
Okay.
Because concept art is something that's important at a level, and I've talked about with Destiny before and how much I love the
Destiny concept art is
of
fantastic.
Destiny. Incredible. And like we don't even have to talk about the game because I've already talked about it before and how I feel about it. But if a game is able to use concept art like that, like even for like loading screens like Grand Theft Auto 5, like that actually I think adds not a small layer, like a huge layer of the environment. Even if you're not there, just to have these really detailed paintings or drawings helps me kind of ground the game into something that's a little bit more like feels like it actually exists. There's something like ancient looking, especially with the Destiny stuff. Mm-hmm. They're all really small and it's like these huge atmospheres, and you go there in the game, it's like doesn't feel the same. But because that exists, you kind of it's almost like that's like a little accompanied novel with it. There's something special about concept art.
Some of my favorites, going back to Metal Gear, the lead designer is also a famous illustrator, and he does ink paintings of Solid Snake and other characters. So it's these very Japanese, like washy,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
Ink brush paintings. Look them up; they're incredible.
Yeah.
But those are just so Metal Gear in my mind. When I think Metal Gear, I don't think of like sneaking around. I think of like those ink
That's
paintings.
how powerful they can be, though.
Well, I mean, and that's why I bought The Art of the Last of Us.
Right, you have a whole book.
Because I wish, I don't know if like you got to know somebody, but like if I could buy like official concept art prints, oh my God, I would have those everywhere.
And like you could hang that and frame it, and people would be like, "Who's the artist that did that?"
Exactly.
No one would know the difference
because they are artists.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no question
like
about
high
it. That's
art
like
to
what
me.
their title is. It's
I would
like
go
game
look
artists.
I would go look at a museum full of concept art rather than like.
I will. That's not a bad
Da
idea.
Vinci.
I wonder if that exists.
Oh, there's got to be
sure,
at least
yeah.
one. There's got to be one.
doing-
Well, I mean, like I know a
Live
couple
video game music.
art galleries around here have done like we went to go. Sam and I went to go see one that was like Star Wars stuff, and it had a bunch of like concept art. Actually, the book under The Last of Us one is the art of Star Wars Episode 7. So
Nice.
so I'm building up the collection, as it were.
Right.
But like, I mean, Barnes & Noble has or I guess any bookstore really, you can go there, and their video game section is pretty much it's either like the strategy guides and everything, or it's the art books. And they're fantastic.
While I was working at GameStop, people would come in with collector's editions of games and try to trade them in. And they would be, have the art book and everything. GameStop only cares about the discs, right?
Oh,
or
right.
any content.
Bunch of soulless corporate bastards. Come on.
So I got to keep all the art books. So I actually
Pretty
have,
sweet. Never mind.
I actually have a huge collection of video game art books.
That's awesome.
Not like huge. It's not like you walk into a room and it's...
It's like a whole bookshelf
Yeah,
filled with
like-
art
Those
books.
are the only books that aren't for chumps.
But I think I have a good sized bookshelf full of. I have like Mass Effect, BioShock.
That's badass.
Nice. The BioShock.
BioShock.
Art.
Oh,
That's got to be
yeah.
cool.
I'm surprised we haven't even talked about BioShock
Oh,
being
man.
like
Oh my
the
god!
art direction.
When
of
that game
is
came
beautiful.
out, whew, it
Yeah,
blew
that
me
was
away.
big.
Have
That
you
was
seen
awesome.
Have you seen any of the trailers or anything for? I think it actually just came out. We Happy Few.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very like caricaturized cartoonish.
what's funny is I kind
style,
of agree with him
but
on
it,
this one.
But it looks really, because I watched it, and maybe it was like the overall tone, not necessarily the art, but I got a very strong Bioshock vibe from it.
But so was Bioshock, if you think about it. It did have kind of this odd. Everybody was like shaped oddly. The guns
Big
were
ears
kind of
and like weird,
steampunky and
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Honestly, the closest, not including We Happy Few, the closest modern iteration I can think of like that is actually Dishonored. Like
Yeah.
when you
Oh,
first
yeah,
start
yeah.
Dishonored, the actual environment is almost like hyper realistic. But then you see people, and you're like,
very
those aren't
cartoonish.
people.
Like normally,
So-
like the guards that you fight in
Yeah,
Dishonored, they're
yeah.
very like bulky, and they
They
have
are.
like
They're like very. They're almost
stout.
like caricatures
Yeah.
of characters.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
you're like,
but the environment's super hyper.
oh yeah,
is
the
like super
environment. I mean,
realistic?
people could probably
Oh,
argue
thanks.
that they're not, but I always look at the environments and I go, this could be any city. Because they have to be traversable. Everything has to be real. You have to be able to climb on everything. So they're very realistic. The amount of detail they'll, not including Dark Souls, is pretty high. So they are much more realistic cityscapes. As
Interesting.
opposed to the actual people in them. You almost feel like there's a disconnect. When I first booted up Dishonored, I kind of bought it without really knowing anything about it. Just because I was like, oh, I need a game. This one's $15. Done. That was
It's a
how
good buy. It's a
that's
good
my
game.
decision process. Now, when I first started, I was like, it doesn't look like this, right? And then I started playing it, and I was like, oh, it does look like this. I'm not so sure.
Dishonored
about
2
this.
kind of changed it up. They don't look near as cartoonish.
So I'm interested to see how they're going to progress, if they're going to try to continue evolving, if they're going to change it up, because I feel like they have a lot of room to really change it
Yeah.
and still have the gameplay be phenomenal. Because what I'm playing Dishonored for actually isn't aesthetic, it's for the gameplay because it's so freaking fun.
Yeah.
So that's a rare example of, okay, I can get over the art style.
Now, do you think that's something maybe that Bethesda does as a developer?
I think so.
Because Fallout 4 is not old, it's realistic, but it's not. But people kind of knocked its graphics.
Yeah.
They were like, "This doesn't look
In a
like
different
what should
way.
be a 2016."
I did not
2015?
enjoy
Yeah, you've talked
walking
about it,
around
Zach.
Fallout 4, even though it did a really good job of creating an atmosphere of desolation and
Yeah.
like complete destruction. It was not enjoyable to, and I guess it's not supposed to be, but it's just it's. And I've compared it to Oblivion and Skyrim. I'd much rather walk around Oblivion and Skyrim of like a lush green forest or like a snow covered peak. Like that's awesome. But there's something about Fallout 4, and I almost mentioned it, but I thought it still does look really good. It's just the direction of it is not enjoyable for me.
It's just so different. Like it's
Yeah.
a different type of game
It is.
of that same genre.
Yeah.
You started and you're like, are we sure that this is right?
Bethesda does such a good job of putting or thinking about elements of like time and all that kind of stuff. It's because in Fallout 3, I feel like it was a lot more gray and a lot darker than Fallout 4. Well, in Fallout 4, you learn that you're 200 years past the nuclear detonation, so maybe things are getting a bit brighter and less desolate. Even though it didn't seem that way, it's still broken down. But I did not. Whenever I got Fallout 3. I agree with Zach with the Elder Scrolls series. There's so much variety and it's beautiful. You walk through forests and plains and mountains. With Fallout, it's all destroyed,
And it's hard
which
to-
is good for the game.
Which is like, I get
It
it.
fits the game.
But
Yeah, it is the game.
But it's to a point where it's hard to tell where you are, like what differentiates this part from that part. I don't know. It just all feels so similar too. At least with
And
Oblivion.
that's actually kind of a threat because if I'm playing a game and the environment bores me,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play. Like if I'm bored by what's going on around me and the action or the gameplay isn't enough to keep me engaged, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. I will literally boot up Wind Waker to sail around in circles. I won't even play the game. I'll be like, now it's raining. Now it's nighttime. I'll look at the constellations.
Right, that's what I used to do
Sailing
in
around
Oblivion and
circles.
Skyrim. I'd be like, this is fun to be here and
Exactly.
just watch
It's just
things
fun
go
to
by.
be around.
Yeah.
And if the environment isn't fun to be in, screw this.
Right.
I'm going to go play Wind Waker.
Well, I think Fallout gives you enough things to run into, like small missions or small outposts or something like that, to kind of save you from the boredom of the landscape.
But
This most recent one, where almost a quarter of the map was that super contaminated zone.
there's a huge part of the map that, you're right, that is almost, you can't traverse unless you have the
And then
correct armor.
Another quarter of it is Boston, which is crazy.
That's right. That's actually pretty interesting, though. I remember being in like actual like skyscrapers and cityscape. That was actually pretty fun, going on rooftops. I did enjoy that.
That's what I like about what you're saying about like the different environments is what I really like about Dragon Age Inquisition. It's a it's a big open world. It's open world to an extent, but there are like places you have to go, and there are like a load screen to go to a different area and stuff like that. But it takes place in this different world, so you go to all these different places. Like the first place you go, the Hinterlands, is very lush, green, wooded, has stuff. Then you go to the Storm Coast. Well, you're on the coast. It's very rocky. It's storming. There's
I like
rain
the
and
whole
lightning.
sound of that. Just the
And
word
then-
Storm Coast. I'm
It's cool.
already on
Storm
board.
Coast.
And then,
That's got
and then I cannot remember this other place, but it's like a swamp area. And so you're going through, and it's dark. It's stormy. It's very foreboding, and there's lots of like, obviously swamped. And if you walk around
I
the
like
swamp,
all
like
the things you're
undead
saying.
come up out of the water, so you got to like kind of pick your path to avoid stuff. So Inquisition does a great job of having different environments.
Can we bring up the king of environments, The Witcher 3?
Oh, I'm in that one right now.
Incredible.
I
Oh
feel
my
like I've
God.
really
Variety.
missed the boat, and I've missed out on Witcher 3.
The variety, the beautiful landscapes, the forests, the plains, it's incredible.
Which-
And, The Witcher does such a good job. All those concept artists, they're based in Poland, and The Witcher was written by a Polish author.
Yeah, I want to go read the book.
All of those creatures in The Witcher, all the armors, all of the patterns on people's clothing are all Polish. It's
Wow.
pretty incredible.
That's
Wow.
pretty awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's pretty cool.
And so like there are certain creatures that are strictly from Polish fairy tales. There was one mission where you had to take a curse off of someone's house. I'm not sure if you've done that one yet. It's in Skalagag.
No,
funny gag.
the only thing similar to that is the devil at the well, where you had the noon wraith that was going around the well, and you had to like disenchant the well so that she would leave once you killed her and stuff like that. So like, but no, I haven't got to that one yet.
This one is a stick, right? Where the person put a horse's head, and it was called a something stick. And you would think, oh, they just made that up,
They just
But you
made
look it up, and it's an actual Polish and Germanic curse, where people would put a horse's skull pointing towards someone's house if they wanted to curse them. You're like,
That's interesting.
I'm gonna do that to
Super
all my
good
neighbors that I want to move out.
All in your front yard.
I'm gonna bring that one back. But one of my neighbors watch. They'll be Polish and they'll be like, "Oh, we see
Yeah.
you. We see what
we
you're
know
doing."
what you're doing.
the
We're on
horse.
top of you.
They
But
probably need
That
a counter
level of
curse.
detail, though, is
Yeah.
amazing.
when artists take the time to really dig up historical stuff, another reason why I appreciate Halo is there's some science to the way things are designed in that game, which I really appreciate.
There is. And like the same with Destiny, they went into so much depth. I've even heard, I don't know if it's true or not, that Bungie has the Halo Bible, which is has a key in it. Like you can't even access it. Like Jason Jones, like the Bungie creative director, is like the only one that can look at it. It's something crazy like that. It might
It's got like all the secrets of how to like design it and everything.
No,
Or
it's
in
got
it?
it's just lore.
Oh.
it's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's the story.
That's
I mean,
badass.
you talk about Forerunners. I mean, this is before 343 took it over and did whatever they wanted. I think with the story. I don't know. They might have had better communication budget. I don't want to knock them for going, but but from Halo 1 to 3, you don't know the Forerunners and what they're about. And that's
Right.
an ancient alien race, and so they went into so much detail, not basing off anything, obviously, but going into enough. They put enough effort and work into it to create their own universe that apparently has this book that really has who the Forerunner were, how long they existed before humans, their interaction with humans, millions and billions of years ago. It's really interesting. It's just
That's the kind of stuff that I love.
wow. When I first heard
my
that, I was
gosh.
like, whoa, the Forerunners and like these. When you go and the like 343 Guilty Spark, one of the monitors of the ring, like he used to be a Forerunner, but he got put into like this ball form. Like it's a whole story that they don't even touch on in the game. You know what I mean? And Destiny does that. They don't touch on anything, but they do it in like the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get those grimoire cards or whatever that you're supposed to then go online and read. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. But no, I agree. I've gotten I don't know how long I've played it. I'm in cannot think of it.
Yeah, how is Witcher 3? Do you like it?
Oh my god, I love it so much. I can't. It's one of those
yeah.
things. It's like
People
I
love it.
have to
Everyone
know
loves
I
it.
need to have like 2 hours or more that I can sit and play it, or else
Yeah.
I won't even start it because I just know it'll kill me to turn it off.
Might be a little controversial, but Witcher 2, I enjoyed it more. I love The Witcher 3.
The
but
game no one has ever actually played. I'm pretty sure you're the only
I
guy.
have
You're the
Because
only
Witcher
one.
2 was hard. People were getting pissed at that game.
I
When
only
it came
have I
out.
have Witcher 1, 2, and 3. I started Witcher
Mm-hmm.
1 a long time ago and then I was wanting to originally play through 1 and 2 before I played 3. But then 3 came out. I heard so much about it. I kept seeing it and how beautiful it is, and I couldn't resist it anymore. I couldn't resist its allure.
Witcher 1's hard.
Witcher 1
it's
is
a
hard.
true RPG. I mean, it is a RPG. It's like you gotta make sure you put in the right skill points. It's not action. It's not tap to hit. It's you select the choice.
You select it has like 3 different
combat
combat
is,
style,
yeah,
and you have
that
to
is
pick
tone.
that before you fight which
Super
one
strategic.
it is.
Oh, man.
It's hard.
What I missed about the first and the second one is you have to drink potions to prepare for a fight in the first and second one,
Yeah.
or you're screwed. This third one, you can just like be sitting there and like, I guess I'm gonna drink this potion in the middle of swinging my sword. You know, I cannot
like
stand that. Yeah.
Who's got that kind of coordination? Come on.
Not
Geralt
realistic.
of Rivia, because he's been alive for forever.
course.
You should play the Solus Project. That game's you would like that game.
I like the look of that game.
It's good. Oh yeah, you were watching me play on
yes.
Twitch.
It reminded me so much of Myst.
Yeah.
Visually, it reminded me of some of the later iterations of Myst. I was like, here we are on this mysterious island with all
Very
this
all
weird
mysterious.
mechanics all around. This
Yeah.
is Myst.
We got to get you Twitch famous, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's get him Twitch famous.
Termy terms. The name's not catchy.
Hit him up, follow him. Can't you change it? Could you change
Yeah,
it to like
yeah.
Terminator Z?
No, it's
think you
taken,
can.
I think.
Oh, who took it?
No, maybe
Come
it's
on.
not. Wait, why didn't
Remember
I do
I
Terminator?
started
I
one?
obviously tried it. Termy terms is not the
I
first
need
choice.
to change mine because mine's just my name, and I need to change it to. I guess I'm stuck with Dogtown Warrior.
Jar
now.
Jar Binks.
No, I'm not doing
Oh,
that.
son of a bitch.
Not
I
doing
started
that.
an account that was my real name, and then I logged on, and they were like, "Why did you use your real name?" And I was like, "Why did I use my real name?"
Wait a
I
minute.
always to go delete it and
I
start
always
a new
feel
one.
like that's what you're supposed to do. It's like,
done?
oh, I need people to know who I am, and then it's like, oh wait, no, they're coming here because my gamer tag, not because of who I am.
There was somebody on Pokemon Go. Their name was their phone number. I saw this online.
I saw
Did you
that.
see that?
I
It's
saw
someone
that.
texted him. It's like, hey, are you the guy with the gym with the Gyarados? He's like, yep. And the guy's like, fuck you. Yep.
That's awesome.
So before we do your third question, which I hope we answered the second one.
I think we got them all
We got-
actually.
we did?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's,
okay.
Through the discussion, I mean, we went through the games that we really like and dislike for their art style.
So then we'll jump before we wrap this up then, or talk a little bit more about it. Let's just take a quick pause. Do a moment with Mogan. If she, do you have it?
Oh, I got stuff. I always got stuff.
All right,
Come on.
Sorry, I don't have a
That's
rap
not even
or like
true. I don't
some kind of
always.
song.
Yeah, no, you have to make something up. It's a requirement.
All
All right,
this.
so very brief pause. Okay, that's enough. All right, so mostly I just have a bunch of weird, non-confirmed rumors about the NX. So I don't know how much you've been keeping up with rumors about the Nintendo NX coming out in
Sounds insane.
2017. Parentheses.
They better get it out if anything, if their financial report isn't.
I
is
know,
any
right?
indication of
Yeah.
anything.
Wind of the Beast coming out for?
Breath of the Wild, my God.
I'm gonna
Would be
punch
Beast
you in the face.
When does it? That's coming out for Wii U or Wii NX?
It's coming out for Wii U and NX.
Okay.
Spring 2017. They've technically got March penciled in now, and it's like that's not gonna happen. That's really funny that they're saying that. Just say we don't know, man.
Yep.
It's okay if you say we don't know. I would rather you say "Psh, we don't know than give me a fake date. Just wait until you know. So on that same note, they haven't even started production of the NX, of course, and they don't anticipate that they're going to start producing it until. Whoa, what a surprise, spring of 2017. So they don't even know. They don't even know what it's going to look like, or at least we don't know. So some of the rumors about what it's going to be like are wild. So for starters, do either of you recall seeing those early leaked photos of what the NX concept art was going to be?
Yep.
Not concept art, but it was like this weird oval-shaped, kind of glossy glass gamepad that had like two little analog sticks on the side. And people were like, oh, this is what supposedly the NX is going to look like. Not that. Actually, that's probably the more updated version.
Do like NX, Wii NX,
No.
or the NX.
Are you getting it wrong because you're using an iPhone?
My
Do like
iPhone's
leaked photos.
confused.
Do like NX leaked photos.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was really weird looking, and people were like, oh, holy crap, is that the NX? They did debunk those as a total hoax.
Oh.
It
One
was
of
like
them was
the,
like
oh,
a
yeah, this
3D
looks-
printed something that
this-
someone
that's
just
not it.
straight
Yeah,
up
that's what
made
they thought
up.
it was.
Yeah, this doesn't look
And
real
then
at
the
all.
other one was just a really good Photoshop job.
Yeah.
So they've definitely debunked at least that design. So what's floating around now is that the NX will be a handheld device. So what they've released so far looks an awful lot like a standalone of the Wii U gamepad. So the Wii U gamepad as it is, it's fairly large. It fits in both hands. It has the screen in the middle. And depending on what game you're playing, it technically has like functionality within the game. Like in Splatoon, you look in your hands and you've got the map. In Mario, I think it does stuff. I don't really know. But so what they've got right now is like this weird looking gamepad, but supposedly it's going to have like the screen in the middle and of course the buttons on the sides. But they're saying, oh, the sides will be able to break off and detach to be two separate controllers that you can then use to play on the screen, but somehow it's also going to hook up to your TV, and it's like they need to. What are they doing? So I don't actually.
That just sounds confusing.
I've seen some like sketches of what they think it's going to look like, and I'm like, we'll see. We'll see of how much this actually looks like the finished product, because my question for the idea of the controllers being able to break off from the main gamepad is they're not symmetric. So the buttons that you have on the right hand
are not the same.
Are not the ones that you have on the left. How on earth are you going to break these apart and have them be two separate
like
controllers?
a Kit Kat bar.
For multiplayer, exactly. It's like,
that's
are
weird.
they sure about that? And so in theory, what we've seen so far is like, the two analog sticks. And then on the one hand, you've got like A, B, X, and Y. And then on the other hand, you've got your D-pad. So it's like, that's a really imbalanced way to divide up the gamepad. Technically, I suppose A, B, X, and Y are like a D-pad, but still it's like, that's a little funny sounding. So mostly the answer is nobody knows shit about the NX. We've just got vague rumors. It's mostly confirmed that in some way, shape, or form it will be handheld. So it's gonna, I'm predicting that it will be like a standalone Wii U gamepad.
Yeah.
Whatever it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be like that, where it just doesn't have the physical console to accompany it. So it's like almost a mesh of the 3DS and the Wii U.
Interesting.
Other than handhelds, Nintendo needs to stop doing hardware. Nintendo, if you're listening,
they are.
Because they dominate handhelds.
They are. They do.
They dominate handhelds, and the DS. I mean, the DS has one of the largest game libraries.
It does.
And
The
everybody
DS
loves PlayStation
library
2.
is huge.
But they need to just publish. Pokemon
I mean, if
Go.
they would fucking if they would support the Wii U, it could be so great. They're it kills me that they've given up on it this early.
Pokemon Go, I think, added $11 billion to their value as a company. And then the next day they came out and they were like, actually, it's only $7 billion. Their stock fell again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because then
They've
they were
been
like,
all
oh, wait,
over
you
the
didn't
place.
actually make it, you just licensed it.
I mean, even if they re-released the original Pokemons onto the iPhone, think about it.
Oh,
How
yeah.
much money
Dude,
it
I would
make.
get it.
I would
would.
buy all
$10?
those.
I would buy
I'd
the
play
original
them.
Pokemon.
I'd be like,
God.
give me the games.
Yes, that's what I really want. I mean, Pokemon Go is great. I just want I want the system, the battling system.
Yeah.
So now that they're actually getting into mobile, I think they probably will start exploring other options like that.
What are they
It's
getting
just
into?
like mobile?
Mobile?
Mobiles. That's
Alabama.
how I say it.
Speaking, this is a perfect example to not like go back to the old topic, but games that are hard for me to play because the art style turns me off. JRPGs. It's hard for me to get
True.
to
I
want
could
to
see
play
that.
those.
Yeah,
It's
I could
hard
see
for
that.
me to want to play those. I'm playing one.
How dare you?
I'm playing one on my Vita now, Freedom Wars. I like it a lot because again, the gameplay and everything, I'm able to look past the art style. But that art style is just hard for me. Is hard for me to like.
Oh man, I
can see that.
When it's something, when I get a little sleepy,
time.
when it's something that
Bud
you
Light's
like,
knocking me out.
Bud Light,
Hard liquor up in here.
So anyways, aside from that, that's kind of all anybody knows about the NX. Nobody knows anything. We don't know. It could be anything. Oh, but they will think that it will utilize cartridges, similar to what they've already got for the 3DS. So the idea that they're going to be using cartridges instead of CDs, like that just reinforces the idea. It's going to be an evolved version of the 3DS.
Yeah, probably.
And Nintendo, really, we talked about mid-console updates somewhat recently. Nintendo's the king of mid-console updates now that I think about it. They had the 3DS.
It's kind of the Wii U, though,
the 3DS Lite, the 3DS XL, the 2DS. And it's just like they've got so much going on. It seems like there's a new handheld hardware almost every year. So it's like, oh man, we probably should have brought that up. Knocking on the Xbox for having the Xbox One S, there we go, Xbox One S, and PlayStation for the Neo. And it's like, oh wait, Nintendo does that shit all the time. Whoops. And then in coming up, we just have No Man's Sky, of course, August
That's
9th.
soon.
It's very soon. PlayStation 4. We've
bad we
also
can't
got...
I
play
can't
it.
fucking play it.
Buy yourself a
Well-
cheap ass
Play it, man.
PlayStation 4.
I'll see if it's worth it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Better build a gaming PC. Get you a rig.
I know.
Get you.
I have
Like
no
Twitch-
idea like the
Twitch stream
details
all
of it.
Yeah. We've also got Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Waiting for it. That's pre-ordered.
That one's coming out
fair.
August.
Already got it.
It's a little later, August 23rd, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then we've also got Batman the Telltale Series, August 2nd. So that one's for everything. PC, Xbox, PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, all the stuff. And then, this might be one that all of you, presumably, have missed. Bound.
I haven't heard of it.
Bound.
Yes.
I know of it. I know the name.
We not talked
So
about it?
Bound is Santa Monica Studios. It's kind of like the
Santa Monica's a good
spiritual
studio.
successor to Journey.
Oh.
So the next Journey is coming out. I was actually watching videos of it to prepare for art style. Actually, it's too bad we didn't get to it.
Already cried.
But so Bound coming out August 16th.
That's it.
PlayStation 4. I'm really looking forward to
Damn
it.
Nice.
It's going to be Journey, but with ballet.
Oh.
As I've gotten older, I've gotten really bad about keeping up with what's releasing.
Me too.
Well, now you
Assume I'm
know.
just too
Good
busy.
thing
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
this moment
the
with
one with
Mogan.
Mogan.
That's why we have it. I know.
I normally just like I go through when as things are announced and everything. I'm like, I will play that. I'll like add it to my Amazon wish list or something. And so then I'll just like
Yeah,
check.
yeah.
I'll just check through it every once in a while and be like,
Yeah.
ooh, this is coming out.
I mean, usually when I decide to buy a game, it's the day of.
Yeah.
I like show up to the store and I'm like, that one. Or I'm on Amazon
I
and I've been
normally like to do
drinking
that
and I'm
too.
like, that one.
Yeah, we're drunk.
Nowadays,
drunk
I'm
orders.
like, and once it hits $30 on that sale,
yeah, now you're like waiting for the price to go down.
yeah, like Overwatch. I had no idea that it was coming out.
Me
I s-
neither.
and
And
whenever
it was out, and people were like, Overwatch. And
Yeah.
we're like, what's happening?
What? Yeah, when
And
did this
I knew
happen?
it.
I was watching like betas, but I was like, "What is this? Like Team Fortress 3? What's going on?"
Yeah.
and no, it was a Blizzard first person.
Right.
shooter.
I
Turns
know.
out to be incredible.
Great,
I'll probably
I know.
when that one goes on a sale, I'll probably snag it for Xbox One too. Just, Overwatch.
Overwatch.
Yeah, man, we need
Play every once in a while.
Yeah,
more
we need to
team
play just
members.
me and cheat now.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I
I'll
told
jump in.
you probably missed it. They're doing that huge, I think I meant to put that on my thing, but I forgot. What a good reminder. The Xbox One S bundles are going to be fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And that comes out the second. I didn't realize that was so
It
soon.
comes out so soon. I have
August
to
2nd.
find
August
some
2nd?
money
Yeah.
quick.
The Xbox S?
The,
What?
the
Yeah, the
One
One
S.
S.
So okay.
So they're going to do bundles of you can do like Madden.
Yeah.
Madden. But they're also going to do
that art
inflated
style
balloons.
sucks.
Madden. Blah. They're going to do a huge Halo bundle for the Xbox One S.
That's
Oh,
what
that's
you
what you were
messaged.
tweeting at us
yeah,
about,
And
yeah.
the one that's
All-
only like
it's a-
500 gigs is going to be like 250.
Is
That's
it going to be?
nothing.
That is pretty good. Is it going to be every Halo?
Yeah.
It's going to be the first four. Like it's
think
going
it's
to
the
be
stories,
the Master
not
Chief
the-
collection, and then Halo 5.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of them.
It's a lot of Halo.
If ever there were a time,
And you've never
to
played Halo.
I've never played Halo,
You're
so
in for such a treat if you did it.
and it's white, and I like white consoles, so it'll look really good on my entertainment
There
center.
you go.
Match your white PlayStation 4.
Exactly, my beautiful PlayStation
Which I'm
Be able to
4.
tell the
I'm
difference.
kind of jealous
That's
that
right.
you got
Yeah,
now
you're
that I have
super
it.
jealous.
Now that I've seen it.
I will say, update to PS4 v Xbox episode. Dude, the PS4 controllers blow.
Really?
That's so
Yeah,
true.
really?
Like
I
my little
cannot-
game pads are already wearing off.
Oh,
Maybe
I
I'm
mentioned
playing-
that though.
You did.
In
No,
all
you
fairness.
did.
In all
Xbox.
fairness.
Bring out the tally sheet.
Bring out the sheet.
I did. I
So you
had to buy. I had
definitely-
to buy replacements.
Yeah.
pads.
So we mentioned
They
it,
sell
but I
those?
really underestimated
Like third
how
party.
much I would hate it. I'm like, oh, maybe
Xbox controllers.
I stuck with it.
Good.
I stuck with it for as long as I could, and I was like, nope.
I'm like
get
playing Overwatch too hard.
That's what I thought. I thought I was just being real
yeah.
aggressive, and I was like, oh.
It's
But
me.
I have small thumbs. Come on. So that's bullshit.
I'm a mouse and keyboard kind of dude whenever it comes down to it, but the Xbox One controller is just so much more ergonomic. you know?
yeah. It feels right.
I don't mind the shape of the PlayStation controller, but its lasting power would be great.
It's pretty awesome. Uh-oh. Don't die, camera. But yeah, I don't know. The PlayStation controller just never done it for
No,
me.
it never feels right.
The PS3 controller I love, and the PS1 controllers,
they, like,
and the
all the
PS2.
same, though?
The PS4 is probably the biggest departure.
So it's
from
just
what-
the durability too?
Yeah, just the durability of the
It was-
PS4. Just the PS4 controllers.
It was the 360, which I think is a lot better than the original Xbox controller. When I go back to the original Xbox controller, I don't like it. I liked it at the time, but the original Xbox controller. I mean, do you know? Have you ever
yeah.
held it?
Oh, yeah.
That thing is
I used
like
to
a
play
brick.
with the fat controllers. They fit my hands. They're just
The fat,
white.
like the original
Yeah,
ones.
the original.
Yeah.
I need the
potato
small
controllers.
controllers.
They are
like when
potato
I hold
controllers.
an Xbox controller, I'm like, my hands are so little. I can't do this. But like the PlayStation controllers, they fit just right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yay, small-handed
I
people.
wanna make one of the custom Xbox
Oh
One
yeah.
controllers.
Remember,
Those
didn't
do
I
look
think that you
pretty
like made it
cool.
yourself, like they molded to your hands. That's what I thought. Remember
Oh,
you guys
yeah,
first
yeah,
said
yeah.
that?
And
I
we're
was
like, no.
I was like, how much is that? Like $800? Like your special controller?
No, it's just like color schemes.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool. I might buy one of those one day.
I want them to have biometric access where you have to do the fingerprinting in order
Or it,
for
like,
you to
shocks
use
you.
the
You're
controller.
like, no, this is my controller.
This is
Settle the
mine.
age-old fight between co-op players.
Doesn't Elithgold have one of the Xbox Pros? The,
He does.
The
It's
Pro
got like
controllers?
extras.
Oh, I've thought about doing that.
It's
too.
$150.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I
It's
can
got
do
like so many
paddles.
buttons. How many buttons does that thing have? It's like
It's got like 2 extra, I think.
You can tell when people have them.
no,
because
because the D-pad has like 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's weird. It looks really cool. But again, they're too
Yeah,
expensive.
James
I don't
does
want
have one. And he's got the mic. He's always like, get a better headset. You know, he's like, you have to hear the footsteps. I'm like, you're like listening for footsteps behind you. He always gives me shit. I'm like, oh, someone came up behind me. He's like, should I have a good headset? You know, you can hear him. I'm like,
What
Jesus,
kind of headset
man.
do you have?
Just a regular Xbox headset.
Yeah.
He's got like a nice one.
He can
He's
hear
got like
people
the
sneaking.
pro
yeah.
gamer ones, I think. That you see like the
I got
Red Bull.
I have the PlayStation, the Sony Gold wireless headset. It's pretty
I
nice.
had my Razer Kraken Pro.
Oh yeah, what'd you
but
get?
They won't. Oh, I got Turtle Beach instead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It
So
sounded
it's
pretty.
really
You
nice.
sounded pretty clear when we were playing the other day. On,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
People tell me that, and I'm like, "Speak up! I can't hear you."
Oh man. Well, did we answer all of your
Yeah, I
questions?
think so. I'm glad it turned. It was more of a conversation about the art of games, which is exactly what I want it to be.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
No, it was great because I know we did the game, the conversation on art style, on art direction and stuff like that. Like how many?
Episode
Probably
82.
Yeah, that's what it was. But this one, this was a much deeper dive into it, and I think
It actually was.
It came across really well. So this is a really fun conversation. So
That
it was
was
an
good.
excellent topic.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good guess.
Thanks for
Good
having
guess.
me, guys.
You're welcome. It was great to
welcome.
have you on. But again, this has been an episode of Team Chat Podcast, and if you have any questions or comments, and let us know what your favorite art styles are in some of your games, favorite games that you think is the most beautiful games that you really can't get into that much because you just don't like how they look. Let us know at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or send us a message on yes.
Also, if you have a favorite concept artist, put them on like the Facebook or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that'd be nice
Oh,
getting
Because
names.
yeah.
I
I wanna
always
know
like
too.
to see
Let's
people's
start it.
portfolios.
We'll start a
Matt
thread.
Nava,
Actually, I have a
Journey.
few I'll post tonight.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll
I want to see
we'll
those
get a thread
video
going.
or the snake images. I've never
Yeah.
seen those.
I'll
Me
post
too,
one.
me too.
I'll post one on Facebook.
Solid
Yeah.
snake.
So post your favorite concept artists as well onto the Facebook or Twitter page, which are at Team Chat Podcast. Yeah, at Team Chat Podcast or Facebook.com/Team Chat Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch these cool, awesome videos. Until next time, I'm your host, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my far right, by Rachel Mogan.
Peace out.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Later.
And our special guest, thanks for being on the show,
Hey.
Spencer Tullos.
Nice.
Spencer Tullos.
Bye, y'all.
We'll
that.
see you all next time.